How's it going, everybody? I just wanted to give everybody kind of a little overhead view or heads up view or whatever you want to call it. A little kind of review, but not really, just kind of a what it is type thing of what I've received recently. It's the Smallrig F60 Modular Follow focus puller. Pretty nice little unit. This is the bag that it comes with. You can see it says Smallrig on it. And I've already pulled the focus puller out, and there it is. You can see it's a very hefty unit. This is the biggest one of their group, and it is also the most expensive. There's two others that are down a little bit lower. You can see this one is it's kind of got the wood grain to it. It's not really wood, but it looks and feels kind of like wood. It does have the ring for printing your stuff on it in case you want to mark things or whatever. You do have to use erasable ink or that kind of stuff. And it does have the pins that you can adjust. You can move these all around as little stop points, just like that. This one does have this other little lever right here, and what that does is it makes it so that it can be used on either side. I don't know how well you can see what that's actually doing, but see, it moves from one side to the other. So if you're on the left side of the camera but you want to zoom in this way, but it's zooming in the other way, then you can flip that around and change it to where it's pulling. This does also have either teeth. Come on, focus. Doesn't have one simple thing to focus on, so there we go. It does have teeth, or you can use just a tension rubber ring type thing if you've got the little bitty small, not really teeth, but just kind of whatchamacallit's on the lens. Personally, I buy the teeth ring, the rubber rings that go around them. I think that does better. But that's just me. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. This also does have, I don't know if you can see it inside here, this little pewter looking ring. And what that is a tensioner. So if you're using it on a lens that doesn't have any tension to it, then you can adjust that up so that you get more, that way it's more controlled what you're doing. You can go all the way loose, and it's just, I mean, you can see it's pretty easy to move. This one also comes with, it does come with all this stuff, which is the 15 millimeter tube, a bracket, I believe, that came with it, Allen wrench, a couple screws. This one comes with something a little bit different, and this is for if you have one of the bigger cameras, or your setup is just a little bit more extreme. You can put this on here like that, and then screw this onto it. If you can get it to screw on there, that is. Here we go. And that gives it an extension. And you can see this is fully movable until you clamp it down there, and then it stays in place. It also does come with this is the hard plastic one that you clamp on. I don't like that. Really, it's hard to get it where you need it to be. You got to keep moving it around, and then the whip part gets in the way. So you have to have almost the exact size ring anyways. So yeah. Now the reason I got this is because I have a Sony lens that I use for stage stuff. So if they're choir, orchestra, plays, skits, madrigals, solos, whatever, and I want to zoom in on somebody at a microphone or whatever the case may be, I have a 24 to 240 millimeter Sony zoom lens, and it's 3.6, I believe. But the problem with it is so stiff. It is probably the stiffest lens I've ever used in my entire life to zoom in and out. I went to a couple forums and checked on it, and it turns out that the reason why they do that is because, one, it's waterproof, dustproof, all that kind of good stuff. The seals, the rings, and all that make it so that it has to stay tight, or it'll lose that proofness, whatever you want to call it. Also, if your lens is on your camera and you turn your camera down, or like if you strap it to your belt or you have it on a harness or something like that, and you lay it down, a lot of those lenses they'll extend out and kind of they hit the end of the rack, and sometimes that can affect the glass. It can throw it off or whatever if it's not glued perfectly, or if anything. It's not good on the lens for it to snap out like that. This one won't budge. So if you have an issue with and I can't remember what it's called. It's where it loses its stationary ability, and I know it's something simple, but the words are just fleeing my mind right now. So this won't do that. If you let go of it, if you get it zoomed into where you want it and you let go, it's staying there until you turn that zoom ring again, because I'm telling you, it is stiff. Now the focus, perfect. I can use one of the motorized focusers on it, but the motorized focuser would not even budge this. It would just sit there and hum, kind of act like it was going to break down if you tried too much. So I said, okay, I'm going to go with one of these. Now, I will tell you this. This doesn't do a great job at it either. As big and hefty and high priced as this is, and I'll get into that in just a second, it would not, it will push it out and it will pull it in, but only to a certain point. If you go from all the way in to most of the way out, about 3/4 of the way, the teeth start missing. So it's like what it kind of seems like is the further the lens gets extended out, because it does extend out of the camera. It's not an internal zoom; it's an external zoom. So by the time that weight catches onto it up there and everything, then the teeth tend to, kind of like skip. So it doesn't have enough pressure. Now I have to use this on my Panasonic to get it in there, to get that in there. Then the zoom for the ZVE10, I don't have to use it, but what I've noticed is with one of these rods going through there, it's actually tweaking the it's tweaking, it's kind of putting tension on it so that it's pulling the rod away from the camera, which is causing it to miss that tooth. And it usually only misses one or two. If you give it a second and readjust your hand, you can slowly start to move it again and it'll go. But if you want to do it all in one fell swoop, then you can't. Now, if you want to get it to about, like if you're going from 200 to 220 millimeters of zoom, then you can get that in that range, and you probably should be able to move it okay. It's still very tight. Even with this, using it to turn it like that, it's still tight to do it that way too. My wrist is not strong enough to reach around the camera and do all that at a high rate of speed or with any fluency, whatever you want to call it, fluidity. So I do have an issue with that anyways, but with this, it makes it easier because I can go zoom in on the person and then pull back out. So it makes a huge difference, but it's still tough. It's still tight. So I've done more research to find out if it's going to loosen up with time or anything like that. Probably not. The reason why I got this lens is because it does go to 240 millimeters. I didn't really care that it was 24 to 240. I would have rather had like maybe a 100 to 240 or something like that. But still, even those, if you're getting into anything below a 4.5 or something like that, you're still looking at around $1,200. So this one was it was an open box, and I got it from a reputable place for $600. So you're looking at half the price of something. And I don't do this for a living. I do it for a hobby. So for me to spend that much money on something would have been kind of off the wall. So real quick, I would like to take you to the Smallrig web page, and you can see right here, that is the price of this. So like I said, it is very pricey for what it is. This is a non-motorized. This is the manual version. and it's $139.99 plus shipping, tax, all that kind of good stuff. So it does come with the belt type one. Let's see, I'm not sure if it shows everything that it comes with in here or not. You can see how it does that little, that does the adjustment. The rest of these really aren't that helpful, I don't think, but still a little bit interesting to see. And there you have it. That's what they come with right there. So again, it's a very nice unit. It really is. But on the pricey side, I'm not sure if it's worth it for some people. You can get some of the lighter ones, and they may be sufficient for what your needs are. But for the reason I needed it, it wasn't as good a good deal. So a little bit more info on it there. It is kind of bulky and heavy, so it's going to add a little bit of weight to your camera. I don't know if that's an issue with you, because hopefully you have it on a tripod when you're using something like this. But going motorized when you're doing shoulder mount or on some kind of a gimbal or something. So anyways, that's pretty much all of that. And again, I will say, to me, it's worth it because I have that ability to use it, and before I didn't. So hopefully whenever I'm recording the choirs and the plays and stuff like that, then I can at least zoom a little bit from a group of people to just maybe one person, getting a close-up on them or something like that, instead of going from crowd included, full stage, zooming in on one person. That I'll never try to do. I always have a static camera anyways, so with this, you pretty much need it, because when you try to zoom that in, it's going to shake and jitter, and you know, you're not going to be able to do it all at once. So you want to be able to do it as fluidly as possible, but you can switch to that static camera of the full stage or whatever, and you don't have to worry about what it looks like, because you're gonna switch over to it. So anyways, that is what I have to say about this. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section, and I will get back to you later. All right, thanks. Bye.